Hi, this is Joy Robertson. As many of you know, I love food. I love finding new restaurants. I love trying new dishes. And most of all, I love talking to the many great restaurateurs and entrepreneurs we have here in the Ozarks and beyond. I love hearing their stories, and that's what this podcast is all about, learning more about them and their journey. So join me as we savor the Ozarks. This episode is brought to you by Arctic Food Equipment. It's a Saturday morning in a very, very busy workshop at Finley Farms, and I am sitting across from a guy named Paul Allen. And those of you who know Paul Allen, Chef Paul Allen, enough said. Here we go. Buckle up, people. This is going to be an adventure. This guy is a private chef. He operates Allen Event Group, private events, The Chef's View. You now have a farm down in Ozark where you're planning to do events. I'm going to quit talking. I'm going to let you talk. Paul Allen, you've got so much of your life and career to dive into. Are you from around here?
I'm originally from Texas. And first off, great to see you, Joy.
Great to see you as well, always.
I think last time we were together, we had like some, was it Dom Perignon or some Veuve Clicquot? We were cooking steak on the air. We have a lot of fun together.
Yes, that is true. You came on Ozarks Live, and you were cooking for us. I think you did maybe a surf and turf. But the time before that, you and I were both at Taco de Somo.
Yes.
Yeah, we were at Taco de Somo together.
Yes, great times.
So that's another thing I want to talk about. But so you're from Texas originally. What brought you to the Ozarks?
So my father was an entertainer, and so it's funny. He went in from the oil business in Dallas, Texas, and then ended up at Silver Dollar City as a character called Redneckers, and he was an entertainer. So he was a gospel singer and MC. And so I grew up at Silver Dollar City from the age of 12 on, going backstage, having fun. I remember when the food was absolutely incredible. They baked all their own cookies. I mean, everything was just fantastic. They still have some good showstoppers, but back in the day, the food was so good.
Well, I did a whole podcast with them. You'll have to go back and listen to it because I talked to the guy that's in charge of all the food down there, and they do some great stuff down there. But he also grew up down there. I wonder if you know him. Anyway, we'll talk about that later. But so you did grow up around the Ozarks. What got you interested in food, hospitality, culinary, things like that?
So I was a fat kid growing up. By the age of 6, I started cooking. And I can't remember last week, but I remember when I was 6, and I remember my mom coming home, and I made stuffed meatballs. And I put in cheese, sour cream, and some chives. I made meatballs in the oven. Back then, my brother was 8 and I was 6, and you could leave us at home for like 2 or 3 hours before my mom would get home, and that was legal back then. And so she said 2 things. A, these are really good, and B, don't ever use a stove without me being home again. But once I get home, you're more than welcome to use the stove.
But you didn't burn the house down, or did you?
I didn't burn the house down. With the stove, I don't know about other instances. I was a pretty naughty kid growing up. But so I started cooking at the age of 6 because I just love to eat. Then I was working at Oakley Auto World down in Reed Spring, Branson West. At the age of 17, let's say I was making like $35,000 a year. I was 17 years old. This is back in like 1998. And the world was at my oyster. My father came in and he's like, I want you to do something different with your life. I want you to like move on to the next level, and I want you to go to school. And so I was like, I thought about it. I love to eat. And I'm like, if you find me the best culinary school in America, I'll go there. He called my bluff. Got me an application to the CIA, the Culinary Institute of America in Hyde Park, New York, and I got accepted. So I ended up going to culinary school, and it was one of those things where I was thinking, even if I don't use this as a career, at least I will know how to cook good food.
No joke. What did you put on I guess you have to apply. What did you put on your application for CIA? So I've had a lot of really good food at Silver Dollar City in Branson, Missouri. Oh, and I work at an auto dealership. And they said, come on up. So
can I tell you, be honest with you, I fluffed it up, okay?
You zhuzhed it.
I zhuzhed it. I'm a good zhuzher. So I had my good buddy Voskin. I don't know if you ever remember Voskin's, but there was this amazing Mediterranean restaurant.
I remember well.
Voskin gave me a write-up. I put on there that I was a food artist because I worked at Subway, but I left the Subway out. And I got references from all of my foodie friends, and I wrote this amazing intro, because you have to write a little, a page and a half of why you want to be there. And so I think that is what got me in. I still remember it because I want to feel what garlic does to the food, and I want to learn how to make sauces in depth, and I want to learn how to build flavors, and so I really BS my way into the Culinary Institute of America, and I took it very serious when I went. I will say that there was a lot of people that they came on daddy's dime, and they got their entryway paid. I had to finance my whole deal. My Mima co-signed for me. I worked 3 jobs when I was in culinary school, and I took it very, very, very serious.
Is it as hard and intense as I think it is?
It's a lot harder. So, so the cool thing about the CIA is, let's say we have breakfast cookery. You feed everybody in the school breakfast. So you're there at 2 or 3 in the morning, prepping, getting ready. Let's say you're in Asian cookery. You're feeding 2 or 3 classes Asian food every day for lunch. And the worst for me was the dang seafood operations. So when you learn how to fabricate seafood, which I remember my instructor was Corky, and he was old school. He would stab you with a fork. I was just back in the day where they could burn you with cast iron pans and get away with it. And then right after I graduated, they started with the kind of it got a little bit softer after that. And so I was the last of the old school. I graduated in 2000. And so after 2001, everything started changing. So I remember I was filleting salmon, and you're in a refrigerator. So your classroom is a big refrigerator, okay? And it is freezing cold. And you're in New York. It's probably in the middle of wintertime, so you're walking from your dorm over there, freezing your butt off, and then you go into a refrigerator all day long while you're fabricating. So we're fabricating wild sockeye salmon. And I remember...
Which means, by the way, fabricating, you essentially take the whole thing and take it apart.
The whole fish, and we're taking it apart. That's what we learned off of. It wasn't let's learn off some cheap stuff. It's wild salmon. And then that salmon goes to a class that they're going to cook it for the school, because everything works together at the CIA. So Corky comes over, and I have terribly filleted my salmon. So I think I'm going to be smart, and I'm going to hide it. So I throw it away in the trash can, right? And so when you're fabricating a salmon, you can see and know that there's half of the meat is missing on the salmon. So I have this teeny tiny fillet that should be really big and monstrous. And he's like, "Where's all the trimmings?" I'm like, "What trimmings?" So he goes and digs through the trash, pulls up my terrible, terrible trimmings with all the meat on it, reams my butt, and I'm telling you, I can fillet a salmon like no other.
You learned that day how to make that salmon rule, and did you really think he was not going to notice that in the trash? I'm shocked. Okay, so you graduate from the CIA, and eventually you're a private chef on yachts, and you're a private chef for anybody who needs a private chef. They'll give you a budget and say go to town. What did you do upon graduation?
Okay, so let me tell you how it all began. So I'm walking through Roth Hall at the CIA. I see a sign. It says, "Do you want to make a bunch of money? Do you want to travel the world? And do you want to cook for the rich and famous?"
Yes, yes, and yes.
Yes, yes, yes. So they have a fair, a job fair. So every year there's this 2-week job fair at the CIA. And the best of the best come in to get the best of the best, because the CIA is the number 1 in America. So, sorry, Johnson & Wales, it's just true. So CIA's number 1. All these big dogs come in. The Ritz-Carlton comes in, all the Hilton hotels, all the F&B directors, yacht chef agents, all these people come in. So I go and I interview with yacht chandlers from Fort Lauderdale. And I did the interview. They basically said, "You've got a job. You need to save up $1,500. You need to pack all of your personal belongings into a backpack and move to Fort Lauderdale for a month. And I promise you that if you do this, I will get you a job working on private yachts." So this was in the back of my mind. I came back to Missouri. I wanted to tackle the world. I ended up at the Chateau on the Lake. I was with a girl, and she cheated on me. And I remember, but now I'll say, it wasn't just one-sided. There was a lot on my side to create that from happening.
That's a whole other podcast. But
so anyway, this girl, she cheated on me, and I quit the Chateau on the Lake, I saved up $1,500. I put all my stuff in a backpack, and I drove to Fort Lauderdale. And you end up in Fort Lauderdale, and you're the scum of the earth when you first start off, because you're not a yacht chef. You're not anything yet. So you have to build what's called your CV, which is your resume. So I'm good at fluffing. So I start working events. So there is a website you can get on, and it gets you all these yacht gigs. So I started cleaning bilges. Like, I remember being in an engine room with a full suit on, cleaning the sludge off of these engine hatches. So that's what it takes to get through. You have to walk the docks, and you have to give out your resume, your CV to all these different boats. You have to start working parties. You have to do things for free. I got in with Beverly Grant from Culinary Fusion, or Culinary Creations. But anyway, Beverly Grant got me in. She took me under her wing. I remember I did Wayne's Heinzinger, the owner of Miami Dolphins. I did an event for him. I worked for Kibbles and Bits in the beginning. And then I built my CV up. Within 1 month, I was cooking on a yacht. Here's how I knew I was in the right place at the right time. The yacht was called High Tide 2, 120, 130-foot yacht, probably $20-30 million. In my galley, to clean the cabinets, I had to use Porsche polish for clear coat, because it was Porsche finish, like Porsche, the car, they clear coated it in Porsche clear coat, so I had to wax my galley. So I would physically use car wax to make my galley shine. So it was called High Tide 2. I was down in the garage. The garage is like the basement of the boat, where the aft door comes down. You have all your toys, jet skis, sea bobs, all the fun stuff. For those of you that don't know, a sea bob is like a jet ski that goes under the water. So you can go around 10, 15 miles an hour under the water with a snorkel on and like explore the depths of the ocean. So that's the kind of stuff they keep in the garage. I see this mat that's called Weir Nuts. WEHR Nuts. So for those of you that are locals, there is a car dealership called Weir Motors. So I have some stories on that guy that I won't say right now.
Oh, come on. No. Well, that's another podcast,
well, let's just say they like to party, okay? So they had,
maybe that's a private conversation. Anyway.
They had subwoofers built into the boat, like underneath the floor. Well, they were from the Springfield, Missouri area. The very first yacht that I worked on was sold. I saw this little pamphlet or brochure for Weir Nuts, and it was a yacht that they owned from my local area. And I'm like, oh my God, this is so cool.
What are the odds, you know?
So I started doing the Bahamas. Within 1 month after that, so I'm 2 months into it, I get a job and I go to the Mediterranean. So I get a full-time job on a 130-foot yacht, $30 million. There was a crew, there was 8 of us, and we go over to the Mediterranean.
So, were you cooking?
I was cooking. I was a chef. So full-fledged, into it, the whole deal. So I fly into Palma de Mallorca. I'm greeted by my best friend now, Kevin Mendoza. At the time, he was the first mate. Now he's a yacht captain. He picks me up. We go play tennis. You know, like we're on these Wimbledon courts. We're having fun. And so now you were saying you get a budget on yachts. There's pretty much no budget. So you're cooking on some boats with zero budget, meaning my garnish might have been $3,000 or $4,000 in caviar that was just on top of the scallop. So like that's not even the main show. That's just simply the fluff. So it was just absolutely amazing. When I first started off in yachting, I thought the most expensive ingredient was the best. So I was all into the truffles and the foie gras and all of like the best that money can buy. Throughout my experience, and I traveled all over the world, I know now that local is the best ingredient. So like, let me give you an example. You're off the coast of Naples, Italy. There's these little neck clams that only are in that area. They have these 2 little tentacle things over their eyeballs. And I'm telling you, it is the best little neck clam you can get in the world. And you only can get it in that area. So as I travel there, I go to the local fishmongers and I get all these local items. The shrimp just looks so different than the shrimp anywhere else. Like, they look like mini lobsters. The rabbit off of Ischia. So there's an island in Italy called Ischia and Capri. They have rabbit that is the deepest caught rabbit in the world. So they burrow in the mountains and they're down like 30 meters. So that's like almost 100 feet. And they're the sweetest rabbit in the world. So you want to get that rabbit. You don't want to get rabbit flown in from New Zealand or whatever. You want to get the stuff in the local areas. How I stumbled into that, let's say I start off in Fort Lauderdale and I'm with my purveyor and I have the best of the best of the best. Well, you can only have about a 3-day supply on a yacht because you're cooking for 12 owners. You have 8 crew, 3 meals a day for the crew. You have about 5 or 6 meals a day for the owners, and they could bring back 30 to 100 people back from a party, and they're like, hey, cook for my 85 guests. So you have no idea. You could wipe out everything you have in the galley, in your freezer space. Now you're in the middle of the Bahamas somewhere, and so like you're shopping at these crazy gas stations. Moldy raspberries are like $10 a carton, and there's only 2 good raspberries out of 55 raspberries. So I'm like, how did I go from like the best breads to like Wonder Bread, you know? And so I didn't like that. So I started planning my menus off of where I'm going in the world. So if I'm going to be in Nassau, Bahamas, I'm going to go to the local fishmonger. We're going to get some tuna. We're going to get some lobsters. And then so I started planning that way. So I would go to the farms. So I've always been into farms. Actually, I own a farm now. Super excited about that, Allen Family Farm. And so I would go all over the world, and I would invite myself for lunch at the farmer's place. So let's say I would contact a farmer. I would say, hey, my name is Paul Allen from Motor Yacht, whatever. I would like to come over, and I want to purchase your produce, but I want to know about your produce. I want you to educate me and tell me. So throughout all my travels, I had at the time, it was like a nonprofit, but I never got a 501c status. It was just self-funded, and I loved helping farmers. So it was called Eat Real Food. And Eat Real Food, like I'm a big advocate about eating real food. When I say that, I mean like whole foods, coconuts, whole fruits, whole vegetables. Some people call it the caveman diet. But like naturally, you know, without all the pesticides, without all the chemicals. And it really doesn't have to be an organic label that gets it for me. It's a local and the reputation of the farmer. Because farmers have a good reputation if they're good. So I would go to all these exotic islands throughout Italy, Spain, France, Israel. I mean, I don't know. I've been to so many different islands. I don't even know that I've actually been there. By the age of probably 25, 26, I filled out a passport and a half and just traveled everywhere. And I would learn from these people. I remember going to Myanmar on a humanitarian trip, and this guy puts on high heels, which is, I guess, acceptable in this day and age. But this guy puts on high heels, and he goes walking through the garden, and everywhere that he stepped on the high heel, this next guy came through with a bamboo pole and put in the seeds where the guy put in the high heel. So I guarantee you I'm going to have a set of high heels for my farm, because that's the fastest way I've ever seen seeds planted in my life. And so, anyway, I might have one of my daughters do it, but I might do it too. I don't even know.
Work it, cover girl. Work it.
I'll have you come out when I do that.
Yeah, I'll get the video. Don't you worry.
So anyway, the guy goes through with a little bamboo pole, puts the seed in. I mean, faster than anybody. Because imagine, like, bending over and planting all these seeds.
It's very resourceful. I'm really digging the idea. Yeah, no pun intended.
So anyway, I've learned weird things like that, which brings us to the farm that we have here in Ozark, Missouri. So we're at one of my favorite coffee spots right now. So we're at the workshop owned by Johnny Mornis and that conglomerate, and they do a whole bunch of like open-faced toast here, so avocado toast, scrambled eggs and bacon. They have like a chef that like is making the bread. They're getting. You can see right now if we look out the window, we're on a farm right now.
Yeah.
So you can in the springtime you can pick your own herbs and stuff like that. And so I'm about 4 minutes from here, so about a mile and a half. And we have a farm called Allen Family Farm. So we got 7.5 acres. So I turned yacht chef to farmer. So total city slicker that really doesn't know what the heck we're doing. I don't claim to know what we're doing, but I have a lot of these little hacks from traveling the whole world as a yacht chef and being around all these farms. So we had a house in Northwest Arkansas, which I love Northwest Arkansas.
I do too. I'm originally from Arkansas, so yeah, it's a great spot.
The streets are not only paved in gold, they're paved in bike trails. So Bentonville, if only Bentonville was here or my 2 oldest daughters were there. So that's what happened is I had a house in Springfield, a house in Northwest Arkansas, and I would travel. And I thought it's fine because it's only an hour and 45 minutes. I can hack it, I can do it. But my heart wasn't into it. So when I would be down here, I'd be with my 2 oldest daughters, and I would leave my wife and my 2 youngest daughters behind. When I would be in Northwest Arkansas, my 2 oldest daughters would be in Ozark, and I would be there. So there was always something missing. Because I wanted to take the family from Springfield, go to Northwest Arkansas, make a new life. We started getting contracts. We were flourishing. We bought a duplex. We bought rental properties. We were doing our thing in Bentonville that is like one of the most up and coming areas in the world. Not America, but the world. I'm telling you, you'll take a $20,000, $30,000 house that's now worth, just the land is $1.2 million. I mean, it is crazy what is happening.
When I went to school in Fayetteville, I'm just sorry that I didn't buy up a ton of land between there and, say Bella Vista or whatever. I mean, it's just unbelievable, isn't it?
You would be on the islands on a yacht right now.
And you would be, you'd be chefing the whole way around.
One thing every restaurant owner knows is that you can't run a restaurant without ice. Hi, this is Nathan with Arctic Food Equipment. Now is the time to schedule your seasonal preventative maintenance for all of your equipment and HVAC systems. Whether it's a stove, refrigerator, or ice machine, they all break down at the worst possible times. And believe me, you don't want to be out of ice with a packed house. At Arctic Food Equipment, we specialize in finding problems before they occur, saving you downtime and money, plus the stress of dealing with the problem. Call us at Arctic Food Equipment today.
At Arctic Food Equipment, your success is our business always.
Do you still do the yacht thing, though? Do people still call you and say, come drive the boat? Not drive the boat, but you know what I mean. Run the party.
And I can drive the boat. So I was very intuitive. I know how to start the engines. I know how to drop the chain. I can drive. I can do it all. So, yes, every once in a while I'll get gigs. I still have clients that will call me from time to time. I have a lot of people in Florida. I'm going back on spring break to cook for a gentleman down in Isla Mirada. And so, yeah, from time to time I still do that and get my feet wet. And now it's just like a huge vacation for me because let's say I'll do a yacht gig once or twice a year as opposed to doing it like 5 times a week, which can be daunting. But yes, so I do still do that from time to time.
I would imagine there would be major challenges cooking on a yacht. Not a ton of space. You're laughing. Not a ton of space. Some I don't want to say rocky seas, but some unpredictable weather and high seas. Yes.
Yes, so I'm actually writing a book about it. So it'll be done in 2025. It's going to be all about my life. And so being a yacht chef, so there is a show called Below Deck.
Yes.
I was actually asked to be the very first yacht chef on Below Deck. So Anna calls me from California, and I didn't really know if she was serious at the time, because this hadn't been done before, but I had a big YouTube presence from back then. So if you go on my YouTube, the Chef's View on YouTube, you will see some old crazy videos, no editing quality, crappy cameras, you know what I mean? This was back in like the 2000s. And so they call me up. I get to the 3rd stage of interviews, and then the 4th stage is they want video footage on the yacht that I'm on. For privacy, I didn't break that privacy code. I did not do the videos on the yacht that I was on, and they went with an English chef. Which people were like, do you regret it? I'm like, not really, because I have my 4 daughters. I have my wife. I would have gone a totally different direction. Who knows what I would be right now. I was very immature at the time, very egocentric, very all about Chef Paul Allen, because when you're cooking for billionaires, in your mind, you have to say, you have to be the best in the world. Like, I literally at the time thought, I'm the best chef in the world, and that's what you have to build the persona, because these billionaires eat anywhere they want. Like Michelin star restaurants, like me and you eat lunch somewhere, at a Mexican restaurant. Like, they can do it all. So I built this character. And And I was the best chef in the world. Like, at the time, like right now, I'm not all about myself. I'm all about working with other chefs. Back then, I was a very one-man show on a yacht. Let's say you're cooking for 12 guests and your yacht crew. Typically, it's just you and the galley. You have people that'll help you. Maybe the engineer would help me peel potatoes, but I would do everything on the plate because I wanted it to be at the caliber that I wanted it to be at. So I would always go for a standing ovation, and I got it about 80% of the time. I would have these billionaires jump off their seat, and they would go crazy over the final dish, and it's all building into the perfect meal, the ambiance, the experience. You have to pick, is it going to be the wine or is it going to be the meat? Because if you have the wine and the meat, it all clashes. So something has to be the star of every dish. You can't make every single ingredient the star. Every single thing, you have to have contrast. So you have to think, oh, they have a special bottle of wine, right? Maybe they pay $10,000 a bottle. That has to be the star of the show. And then the food has to complement the wine. Or maybe you're dealing with a little bit lesser caliber of a wine. You need the meat or the main to be the star of the show and the wine to complement that. So if you just go full board, you're going to lose. If you just hit them with the caviar and the foie gras and all the best wine in the world and everything, it all muddles together. So you have to really think about every aspect. So I have had the craziest things happen. Some things I can't mention right now. And legally, I'll have to change it up. I'll have to change the country. I'll have to change the yacht name. I'll have to change what happened because I've seen some stuff.
Well, and you're as much of a showman as I guess your dad was when he was at Silver Dollar City. You come by it naturally, but you don't just huddle up in the back of the kitchen. You're very much extrovert. You're very much out there. I think it's as much entertainment as it is cooking. Am I right?
Oh, yeah. So I'm going to give you one of my horror stories. So when an owner, we called him our owner, our Mr. or Mrs., okay? And the Mr. wanted us back at a certain time. So when they want you at a port of call, you have to be at the port of call ready to go. And it doesn't matter if you had 28 hours of high seas, everything breaks on the boat, everything is disaster. You have to smile, and they say, oh, how was your trip over? Oh, it was lovely. Even if it was crazy. You just have to be, they don't want to hear about your problems. They want to come on vacation. So imagine you're a billionaire. You have allotted some of your time with your company to get on your private jet, fly to the yacht at set time, and stay for set days, and then leave. It is the world to get there. You will do anything you have to possibly do to get there. You have to really rely on your captain to keep you safe during the whole process because he's the one that has to say no. And we never want to say no to the mister, okay? That's one thing that doesn't exist in your vocabulary. Because imagine they're paying for 8 yacht crew, a yacht. I mean, if you could imagine just the amount that it costs to dock a boat every night is in the thousands of dollars. And they're not even there. That's just for us to be on their boat. So you think if it's 10%, so if it is a $100 million yacht, take 10% of that, and that's what you're paying every single year. So do the math. It's a lot. $100 million, $10 million a year. $1 million yacht, $100,000. And typically you're in $10 to $20 million category. Now yachts have just gone freaking crazy, and they have the biggest boats that almost look like cruise ships. So we're coming back from St. Bart's, and we're going to Fort Lauderdale. And we've got to get to Fort Lauderdale because Fort Lauderdale is the yachting mecca of the world. So in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, that is where all the boats get worked on. That's where all the crew members come from. That's where everything goes down, is in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. So we have to meet a deadline to get there so that we get our boat worked on so we can hit the med season. Okay? So we're going back, and we're going to Fort Lauderdale, and we are in probably 15 to 20 foot seas. Okay? So now you might think, oh, well, that's not that big, but here's the deal. If you're in a 20 foot swell and it goes up 20 foot, guess what? It also goes down. It goes down 20 foot, so that could be a 40-foot dimension. Yeah. So I was on a 116-footer at the time, a 40-foot drop, and we are just, I'm telling you, we are slinging and banging, okay? On yachts, you have to take shifts. So you get 3 hours. So, like, let's say you're up for like an hour session. You get 3 hours sleep and you keep rotating with all your crew. So if there's 8 of you, that's 4 shifts, 30-minute increments, and then you're back on deck, okay? There's 2 of you. As the chef, you're kind of the bottom of the totem pole when it comes to being on watch, because I'm not driving the boat. I'm with the engineer that knows that's keeping us alive. I've got to do whatever he tells me. So my owner at the time loved Bud Light, okay? I'm telling you, he loved his Bud Light, and he wanted it as cold as possible. I don't know if you've ever been to the Dominican Republic, but they keep their beer cold. It's almost freezing, but it's not. So we have these special coolers, and they keep it almost frozen, okay? That's in the galley. We have them all over the boat, but one of them is in the galley. The galley is the kitchen. Damn it. The stewardesses did not lock the Bud Light cooler, okay? But they're asleep. You can't get them up, because typically they're the ones that are going to clean up, do all that kind of stuff. But when you're on watch and you're in the swell, it's just you and the person you're with, and that's it. There's like, unless the boat is on fire or going down, you do not wake up the other crew, because imagine how tired they are from them being on watch and doing all the crappy stuff they got to do. So the Bud Light cooler comes open. I hear it. Bah, bah, bah. It all starts breaking. I'm like, oh my God. So you got to come down from the wheelhouse. The wheelhouse is where you drive the boat from. And that's where you want to be, because you can see the horizon, you can see what's going on, and you don't get seasick. So I'm coming down. I've probably been seasick less than 5 times in my whole life. I learned how to do it. I'll tell you in the beginning, Joy, I would go out partying the day before we go out to sea. Do not go out and drink a whole bunch before you go out to sea, and you're going to hit the swell. It is not going to be good. You're going to get seasick. Do not drink alcohol the day before. Take care of your body. Be as healthy as you can, because it's not going to work out.
Well, there's nowhere to hide. I mean, there's nowhere to go. It's not like you can say, pull this thing over and let me sit out for a while in the parking lot,
So I learned very early on how to not get seasick. So I'm down there and I'm cleaning up the Bud Light. I'm on my hands and knees, and I'm like bleeding, because it's all broken Bud Light bottles, and I really did not care. So I'm grabbing all the high-dollar towels out of the guest bathroom. I didn't care what it was. I didn't care if it was their bedspread. I was going to take it. It was that bad. So I've got all these super expensive towels, and it's like, you wonder as a layperson, right, as people like us, that we might have a nice towel and it's like $40 or $50, right, which that's crazy for a towel. They can have towels that could be $1,000 a piece. You know what I mean? Like handmade in Turkey. Like there's just special shops. When you're wealthy, things change. Everything changes. Your T-shirts, your towels, the bedding. It's just on a whole different level. Okay? So we have these Turkish towels. I'm putting them all over the ground because they're getting closer and closer to the stairs that go down to the crew quarters. And if these Bud Light bottles hit the stairs, all hell is going to break loose, because now we're going to have Bud Light on the staircase. This is where everybody's got to come up. We're going to have shards of glass, so it's like life or death for me to clean up the Bud Light. So I've got a bucket next to me, and I'm puking in the bucket. I'm cleaning up the Bud Light with these Turkish, Egyptian cotton, whatever towels, and I have to clean it all up and get it all ready. And so I remember that was one of the worst times in my yachting career, because there was nothing I could do. There was no one I could ask for help. The engineer had to be up driving the boat, keeping us alive. Everything's breaking around us. And then imagine you're cleaning it up, and it's like a crazy ride, like a roller coaster at Silver Dollar City, and there is no strap on you. So you're getting flung in the air, flung back down on the ground. You're losing your footing. You're falling on the broken glass.
So when you got to your next port, did you find a Come and Go and a Bed Bath & Beyond and or Walmart, whatever, and say, I'm going to get you some? But I mean, how did you replenish all that Bud Light? Because that's the guy's jam, and like you said, you don't want to say no to the boss.
So we were going to Fort Lauderdale, and so we had to replenish everything there. But now here's the deal on replenishing. So I had the best purveyors in the world. I still do. So National Marine is one of them. National Marine in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. They will fly anything to me, get it cleared through customs, schmooze the customs agent, pay this guy off, pay that guy off. Sometimes, you want me to tell you the craziest story of shipping? I am in Italy, and we have a charter from hell. So there is charter yachts. Charter yachts is where we charter out for a week. So I think at the time it was like $100,000 or $175,000 to charter our boat for the week, plus expenses. So it could be over $200,000 for the food, the tip, whatever amenities they want to do. It can get very pricey. So I'm on a 120-footer. We're in San Remo, Italy, and our charter group is in from Spain. And this lady, she's the one. She's the Karen. Let's just call her Karen, okay? So we have a Karen, and she has identical twins, and they have to eat at like 8:04, 12:22. They have to have a smoothie a certain way. She wanted Danone Light, this yogurt. And if she would have told me, I would have got it for her. No big deal. Let me know. Oh, we have a special yogurt. We really need to have it. We need 32 bottles of it, 32 cases of it. Whatever you want, I can get it for you. We're in charter mode. I'm cooking breakfast, lunch, dinner, appetizers, late appetizers, crew. It's hard to go out and get this yogurt. I got every kind of Danone you could find, but it wasn't the one that she wanted. Finally, I'm over it. I'm like, I'm getting it. So I call my purveyor in America. I'm like, this is a picture of it. This is what I need, and I need it now. They're like, Paul, do you know that it's going to cost you over $1,200 to get those 2 cases, 2 12-packs of Danone yogurt shipped to your yacht? I didn't even ask my captain. I'm like, ship it. I want it now. My Danone yogurt went on a private jet, and it got jetted to me. And then I think a helicopter. The helicopter picks it up. The courier brings it to me. And the damn yogurt has rode better than I've ever rode in my life.
Was Karen happy now?
No, Karen was not happy. She takes the yogurt, throws it in the galley. She's extremely mad. She would not let me cook the smoothie, which it wasn't cooking. It was blending the smoothie. So she would have her nannies come in, make the smoothie in my galley, trash the galley, leave it all dirty, and that's when you like just grit your teeth, but you're not allowed to say what you want to say. If you're good, you don't do it. If you're a good yacht chef, you hold it in, you harbor it, you push it down to a deep, dark place, and then when they leave the boat, you go out and you party.
And then you find a good podcast and you air it all out. And Karen, you know who you are. You got your yogurt and you were still a Karen.
So our friend from the Daily Citizen,
Juliana Goodwin, love her.
Named her the Yogurt Lady. So if you read that episode, she calls her the Yogurt Lady. So I'm going to stick with it. So yeah, the Yogurt Lady, that was the worst group of guests I've ever had.
Note to self, don't be the yogurt lady.
Don't be the yogurt lady. I swore to myself, whenever I get a private yacht and I've got it like that, I'm not going to be the yogurt lady.
My goodness. You do need to write this book. I'm really, really eager for this book to come out. What are you going to do with this farm? You said, I don't know what I'm going to do exactly, but you've got to have a plan for this thing. I'm sure you're going to do some crazy good dinners. Is it going to be like an event type space for special events, or will you be open every day, or do you really don't?
Okay, so let me tell you how it began. I'm in Northwest Arkansas. I have a beautiful red tomato. Gorgeous, like Ferrari red. I'm so excited to cut it and make some salad caprese. I cut it in half, and we now squirt this stuff called a peel on our vegetables. If you're going to Walmart, you're going to Price Cutter, you're going to Hy-Vee, even maybe some at Mama Jean's, unless the grocery store has a deal where they say, we will not use a peel, you're getting it, which is that wax layer of chemical crap on the vegetable, which the big FDA people will say, it's fine. It is not fine. I don't care what you say. So I cut it open, and it's completely rotten on the inside. It's sprouting out little tomato plants. It's black. It's nasty. And from the outside, it's firm. It's bright red. Everything that would tell you it's going to be fine. So we don't even know about our food these days. Like, it is so tricky. You can't even trust an organic label. You cannot just go to the grocery store and think, oh, I'm getting something good. The only way you know is if you go to the farmer's market and you trust that farmer. And if you get that tomato and it's bright red, I promise you, when you cut it open, it is not going to be rotten, because it'll start to rot on the outside before it rots on the inside. But if you have stuff with a peel, it rots on the inside instead of the outside because they want it to look perfect for you. So I'm like, I'm done. I am done buying fruits and vegetables at stores that I can't trust. And I'm telling you, I love, when I'm name dropping, I still have love for Walmart. I have cooked for a lot of the people that own that company. They're just such a big company, it gets tricky. Aldi's, we think, oh my gosh, Aldi's is the best. Sometimes it's not the best because they have to buy so much. It's better. They're better options. So it's like, you can't say it's the best. This is a better option over this. This is a better option over this. This is a better option over this. But if you want the best, you got to grow it yourself. So I encourage everybody that's listening, grow a garden. If you grow a tomato in your backyard, it's going to be better than my tomato that I'm going to ship to you. It's going to be the best from your backyard. So I cut open this tomato. I'm missing my daughters, my two oldest daughters that are in Ozark. My wife wants to get into real estate in Northwest Arkansas, so we're buying a lot of real estate. We put everything for sale. I call my guy, and I'm like, we need to sell everything. And they're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, sell it all. We sell our convenience store, we sell our laundromat, we sell our duplex, and we come to Ozark, Missouri. When I put in Zillow, because Zillow is a great tool to look for real estate, which actually, I know someone that's in real estate that I'm talking to right now.
Do you now?
So if you need some real estate, contact Joy.
You should have called me, but you found a great spot. So good for you. So what's next?
So I type in the keywords well water and farm, okay, because I wanted to be on well water. And if you're not on well water and you're on city water, there's all kinds of things. There's fluoride, there's chemicals, there's bleach, there's all kinds of things that they're not, I don't think that they're trying to hurt you. They're trying to keep the water as safe as they possibly can because it's such a big deal. You know, like when you have millions of gallons of water, you have to treat it with something.
Public health, yeah.
Yeah, so I get it. I'm not saying that is bad. I'm saying it's not for me. I wanted to bathe in my own water. So we have a well that's over 400 feet on our deal, and we're zoned agricultural. So I have an agricultural license, and we are right on the border of the, like in front of us is the city limits, to the right of us is the city limits, and behind me is the county, and we are zone county. So it's like God specially picked this farm out for my family. Now, it's sitting right next to a huge apartment complex, which I think that is what deterred most people from purchasing this farm, because it was almost on the market for a whole year. So I don't care. That's my clientele, because we're going to have a farm stand. We're going to do events. So let me tell you what we're going to do. So I have 4 daughters. We've become into such an electronic society. We got tabs, we got phones, we got TVs, we got Xboxes, we got Fortnite, we got all of these things that are like occupying our children's time. And they're fun. I'm not saying they're not fun. I play Fortnite with my daughters. We have a lot of fun with the stuff we do. But let's just say in Arkansas, there was a TV in every room for every child. Everybody had a device. Everybody has a thing. Because I wanted to be the best dad I could possibly be. And I'm like, I don't feel this is right for my family. So I'm not saying it's not right for every family. But for my family, I wanted to bring it back. So we have a farm. We have 7.5 acres. And I want my children to be involved. So, like, you know how kids used to have lemonade stands? I want them to have Nigerian goats that they take care of. Or chickens. They go and take care of the chickens. Whatever their idea is, I'm going to let my children be involved. I'm not going to control everything. Like, as a chef, we want to control every aspect of everything that we do. So there are things that I am excited for. So we're going to do farm-to-table events. But it's going to be table in the farm. So I'm going to kick it to a new level. We're going to have the tables inside the patch of tomatoes, inside the cluster of pumpkins and potatoes and jalapenos. I'm going to do events where if we do a salad caprese, I'm going to take on a silver platter. There will be a whole bunch of scissors. and we'll take it to the guest. You'll have scissors. You'll go clip your basil. You'll go pick your tomatoes. You'll bring it back to the chef. Or maybe I'll have a cutting board on your station, and you make your salad caprese with the best extra virgin olive oil that money can buy, from, amazing parts of Italy, with amazing reduced balsamic vinegar that we'll create on the farm. And it will be such a farm experience. No one has ever seen anything like this before, because I have a weird, wacky mind, Joy. You know me enough now to know that I'm a different duck. So it's going to be table in the farm events. My wife is becoming a naturopath doctor. So she was an ER nurse. Her name is Ashley Allen. She's now becoming a naturopath doctor. So I'm going to grow the herbs for her tinctures. She's going to give classes on the farm. Now, the deal is, with the regulations, everything has to be a private event. So we're not going to just be open to the public. So you won't be able to just come Monday through Friday to the farm. It will have to be a specific event that you buy a ticket for. And then that is how we can have these events. So, like, on the weekends, I want to feature different chefs. So I'm going to have different chefs in the area. Chef Wesley Johnson from UHP. Chef Wes. He had Metropolitan Farmer on the south side.
Yes, I miss him.
Yeah, so he's been my executive chef for around 6 years, and now he's been blessed with an opportunity at University of Health and Performance in Arkansas, but we're still best friends, so he's going to come up and do some events. Chef Dylan Dale. I love saying his name, Dylan Dale. So he's an upcoming chef that's in the local area. He does private chefing. He's going to come out and do some events. We're going to have Chef Andy Hampshire from the Farmers Gastropub. He's going to come out and do events. But not only high caliber chefs like that, we're going to have some of my favorite Mexican restaurants. So we're going to have like El Gordo 2. Raina's going to come. So she does some of the best Mexican food around. I'm going to have some of my food trucks that I really love. There's a place called Fusion Eats that does Indian food, and they give it like a certain spin. So I'm going to have high and not low end, but like things that people can touch. Maybe it's $35, $40, $45 a ticket. Then there will be things that are $100 a ticket. If I'm cooking, it might be $250 a ticket. So let's say out of 8 weekends, I might cook once or twice and do like what I really want to do. And then I'm going to encourage my chefs to come provision from the land and get the fruits and vegetables from my farm that I will provide. And you ready for the kicker? You're not going to know the menu. I will never broadcast the menu. Never will the public get to see, oh, we're going to have this and we're going to have this, because that's the way I like to eat. I like it to be a surprise. So I like it to be if it's going to be an authentic Mexican experience, now I will guide them and direct them and say, hey, don't just give them liver and tripe and all of the innards, because people aren't typically accustomed to that. But if you want to do a special dish of that, you can, but give the people what they want. The steak, the chicken, the pork, and then I will look at the menu, work with them, but then they will always be subject to change. So like, let's say they're going out to get Brussels sprouts and they can't get the best Brussels sprout that they want. They might have to change it up to spinach. They might change it up to kale. They might change it up to something different. So the chef will have full creative control, where I know that's what they want, because as a yacht chef, that's what I got to do. But as a restaurateur, you kind of have to you have a base you have to build around. You have to show the people, this is what the special is going to be. This is what it is. I want it to be where it's fun, you're excited. And still, let's say you have an allergy or you're celiac or something like that. I will tell the chef, and then they will have the right to be like, okay, I can accommodate this, or I can't accommodate this. And I will tell you, hey, if you're celiac, you might not want to come to this dinner, because there is going to be flour that's going to be around all the other stuff. And not now, if you hire me as a private chef with Allen Event Group, I'm going to custom tailor to every single need that you have. But that's a more intimate setting, 10, 12 people. I'm going to do everything I can to accommodate. But on the farm, I want it to be more adventurous foodies that are ready for whatever is to come, and so I love specialtary diets. I actually specialize in that. If you're a vegan, vegetarian, pescatarian, celiac disease, fruitarian, you can be whatever you want. I know all about them. I love customizing to that. So there will be a time and place for that. And then, but the time that is coming now is for adventurous foodies that want to have an experience, not just want to eat, but we're going to have like bands out there. Maybe it might be, if it is a, it might be a mariachi band if we're going to have like an authentic Mexican experience. It might be a guy with a banjo and someone playing the spoons if we're going to do more of a farmy type event. It might be a jazz band if we have a high-end chef that's going to be out there. So we're going to have entertainment. It's going to be very family style. You're going to be sitting next to someone you don't know. It's going to be very long tables. We're going to bring culture to the area, because that is something that we are lacking in today's society in America that I have seen. From going to Germany and Austria and Greece and Italy, it seems like people have culture. We're on Friday night dinners in Israel. You have Shabbat dinner, and all the family comes over and they eat together. In Mexico, the birthdays, there's 150 people there. It's the best party you've ever been to, Joy. You know what I mean? And they have culture. They have things that they hold on to. And so I feel like that's what I'm personally lacking. And there might be some culture that I don't know about here in America. I'm sure that there's people that have all kinds of fun traditions. But in my family, I'm ready to build more substance, more of a community, more people that it's like, this is what we do and this is what we're about.
I love that idea because, my family, with our kids growing up, we always sit down at the table and eat together. That's a big deal for us. But I know a lot of people go all different directions, and when you can bring people together for an event like this, I just think it's going to be great. When are you going to get this up and running? This summer?
So this spring, we're going to start into it. But I would say by next spring, we will be full on. So here's what we're doing. We're not using herbicides. We're not using chemicals to kill all the grass. So right now, I am sweating the land. So I'm very sustainable. So you have to put plastic covering over your ground and keep it for 9 months during the season to kill all of the crabgrass, the poison ivy, all these things that you don't want on your land. So I went out and I called every billboard company, and I got these billboards for $20 a piece. So I called probably 6 billboard companies. I finally get a resource on this one guy, and I bought like 26 billboards, and we're doing what's called sweating the land. So I could have put herbicide on the land. It would have killed it within 2 weeks. Would have killed all the grass, but it would put these deadly chemicals in the ground, and there is no way that is happening at the Allen family farm. So that's going to be a big process. So next fall, we'll start having an abundance of produce. But until then, I'm going to have to do smaller scale. But this spring, we're still going to do events. We're going to try to find animals that will eat the ground, like goats. Mm-hmm. So we want to do Nigerian goats. They're like these mini goats. They eat the ground. They poop on the ground. They get the ground all ready. And then that's a sustainable way of killing the grass, because they eat it all, and it's sustainable. And then they're feeding the ground with their poop, like they are making the ground fertile and ready to go. We're going to do chickens. So chickens, they scratch the ground, they eat all the bugs, they eat the grass, and then they poop on it, and they get it ready, and then you move the chickens to another area, and then you plant vegetables on that area.
Then you put on your high heels and you go walking through there.
On your high heels. I am, one of the things I'm excited to do is there's a thing called a hoop house, which, like that right there, I know you guys can't see on the radio or on the podcast, but a hoop house, it goes round at the top, and it's got these poles, and then you cover it with 6 mil plastic, and that'll keep it warmer there, and you can have an extended growing season. And it protects you from weather and different things like that.
So like a greenhouse.
Like a greenhouse, but a not as extensive. It doesn't have glass, it has plastic. So I'm going to create these hoop houses. I'm going to build my own, learn my mistakes, and then I'm going to sell them in the local area. So if you need a hoop house, you can come to us and you can get a hoop house. Something else that we're going to do, I can't tell you the name of the company, but it's a really awesome name, so we got to get all our paperwork done. But I was trying to figure out, how are we going to have toilets on land? To build a toilet is very, very pricey. So I'm going to have you ever seen the really nice toilets at our events? It's got the his and hers, and it's on a trailer, and you go in, and it's beautiful on the inside. It's temperature controlled. we're going to get one of those, and then we're going to rent it out. So when we have an event, we will make it where it's not available. But when we don't have events, we're going to rent out this nice toilet to the local area. So we're going to do things like that to sustain ourselves on the farm. Right now, we're picking out a farm stand. So we're going to build or get in like a portable building that's going to be a farm stand so we can sell all of our stuff. We're going to sell chicken and eggs and things that we're going to grow on our farm, produce, my wife's tinctures, fun things like that. And it'll be an on your honor market. So you'll come into the farm stand. You'll be able to go in there and shop, get what you want, write on an envelope or we'll create some kind of system. And then you'll just get your stuff, and it'll be, and then since we don't have to have a worker there, we're going to make it, so I'm very into making it sustainable. I feel like the grocery stores have lost their minds on how much they're charging for meat and produce and eggs. I mean, eggs, to get a good egg is what, like $8 or $9 a dozen? That's ridiculous. So we want to bring the prices back down, show people how to be sustainable. And we want to be the model for other farmers. So farmers that are professional farmers that have been doing this 30 years, they will honestly have a lot to learn from our farm because let's say you are a farm and you sell corn or you sell soybeans or whatever you have. We want to show you that you can do events on your farm. You can diversify yourself. Don't be a mono farmer. A mono farmer is someone that grows one crop. They have to do a ton of chemicals, a ton of additives, and it pollutes. It's destroying our earth. You can be diversified and do all kinds of fun different crops, get your community involved, and make it a fun and beautiful place to be. So we're excited to learn from farmers. We're not saying we're the best or that we know everything, but I have ideas to create this new fun farm experience, where people can really have a good time, enjoy themselves, get a meal for a good price. Yes, like I said, some things will be expensive, but you're going to have a high caliber chef creating that. Some things will be less money, where you'll have someone that's doing a more sustainable approach on it. But the produce I really want to sell, for a good price to the public.
And you've been inspired by your trips around the world to sort of make this work right here in Ozark, Missouri, which I'm delighted about. So you've got that going on, the family farm, but you also will do private chefing on a yacht in the Mediterranean, or I could call you and say, here's a budget, here's some money, go cook a great dinner for my husband and me in our kitchen. You'll do that too.
That's right. So how that all started is I had a company called Farm to Counter, and we delivered local produce to people's homes. This was pre-COVID. We were doing it on the north side of Springfield, and that's where my heart was. When I stopped being a yacht chef, I started a company called Farm to Counter, and it just wasn't working. It wasn't like paying the bills. I would have to cater to pay the bills at Farm to Counter. So my wife, she's brilliant. She's gorgeous. She's the whole package. I got the whole package. She's like, why don't you do this full time? Why don't you be a caterer full time and stop the Farm to Counter that's not working right now because it's not sustainable? And you should do a company catering. And I've catered my whole life. I've done thousands of events. So some people are like, oh, I've done 6 or 7 events. Joy, I've probably done 3,000 to 5,000 events in my life. That's where I'm the most at home. My wife always tells me, you have such a loud voice. You're so loud. It's because I'm used to running teams. I'm used to running 100 people, 155 people. I'm very direct. Hey, let's do this. Let's do that. I feel very comfortable in the chaos. Love events. So we do event planning. So let's say I would do one event a month to pay the bills at Farm to Counter. I hated to shut down Farm to Counter. We had to do it. Always fail forward. I tell any entrepreneur, if you're listening right now, if you haven't made a mistake, you haven't done anything. If you're not willing to put yourself on the line, but you have to fail forward. So we're all going to fail. Keep failing forward until you hit your stride. And you might never hit your stride, but you keep failing forward, and then something beautiful is going to come from it. So never be scared to fail. Just keep failing forward. Don't stop. So we didn't stop just because we didn't do Farm to Counter. We turned that into Allen Event Group. Allen Event Group is super high-end events. So we will have a chef come in your home, cook for 10 or 12 people. It could be 2 people. I've done 2 people, and I had one time this doctor, he called me, and he's like, I want it to be like Top Chef. And if you tell me go all the way, those are very like loose word, like I can go all the way. Like if you say, Paul Allen, go all the way, I'm like, what does that really mean? Because like for 2 people, I could spend $10,000 or $20,000 on you. You want me to like have Flying Elvis fly out of a helicopter and parachute on you and serve you the first course? Do you want me to rent you a yacht? You know what I mean? And that's going to be the second course. So we had, I'll tell you, an event that we had for 2 people. And I will say, I think the price tag on this event was around $7,800. Okay, 2 people to eat. We had rose petals that went to a trail to her bathroom. We had surprises of presents. I'm like, hey, what kind of presents do you want to give her? Let's give her presents throughout the deal. We did 7 courses in 3 areas of their home. We ended with a fireworks show. We had a 7-wine pairing, 7 wines, 7 courses. It was probably a 6-hour dinner. And so we will do it all, but this guy, he said, I can't get anything around here that I haven't given her. I can't even take her to Kansas City or St. Louis because I've done it all. One time for her birthday, he flew her to a different country. He said, grab your passport. He blindfolded her, put her on a jet, and flew her to a different country. Like, that's what I was dealing with. And he's like, I want you to go all the way. I'm like, yes, sir. Let's do it.
For the record, that was not my birthday party, regretfully, but wow. I know you did it up right.
So that's the kind of things we do. But we also do fun stuff so we travel mainly between Lake of the Ozarks, Branson, Missouri, Springfield, Missouri, and Northwest Arkansas. So that's like our battleground where we do 80% of our events. But we also will travel to Florida. I'll travel to Istanbul if you want me to. If you want me and my team to come to a different country, we're going to come to a different country. But it's our motto is no problems, only solutions. So if you got a credit card that ting-tings when you drop it, we are ready to go and we can solve any problem.
Oh my gosh, I could talk to you all day. I'm going to have to wrap this up, but Chef Paul Allen, my goodness, write the book and let's get together and do another podcast when you get this farm up and running, because I want to hear all about what you're doing. And by the way, if you get another gig on a yacht soon, send me pictures and tell me all the dish, every bit of the dish. Okay, so we can find you online with the Chef's View and Allen Events Group, correct?
Yeah, so I'm just to touch real quick on the Chef's View. So the Chef's View is my fun spot. I have the Chef's View on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. You can go there and you can see restaurant reviews. You can see us in the kitchen doing recipes, fun stuff like that. So the Chef's View. You can find us at alleneventgroup.com. And we're just starting a new website called the Allen Family Farm, which that's on socials now, Instagram and Facebook. But I want to leave everybody on this note. The most expensive ingredient is not the best ingredient. A local ingredient is the best ingredient you can have. So all day long, you can get a tomato flown in from California that's organic. It's going to be picked green, that way they can travel. But it's going to be nothing compared to the tomato from your backyard. So develop a relationship with your local farmers. Go to your farmers market and love on the people that love you the most.
Words to live by. Chef Paul Allen, thank you so much.
Thank you, Joy. It's been such a pleasure. I love following you and everything that you do. You're doing extraordinary stuff, and I'm so excited to do more stuff with you.
Well, thanks for joining me on Savor the Ozarks, and let's get together soon. Be sure to go to AroundTheOzarks.com to sign up for our daily newsletter where you can get every episode of Savor the Ozarks, plus all our other podcasts, events, and contests straight to your inbox. And what are your favorite dishes in the 417? Do you have any restaurants you'd like me to visit? Email me at joy@AroundTheOzarks.com.